Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second episode of TCLF One-On-One. Through the One-on-One series, we aim to interact with the best legal professionals from India and around the world. We are honored to have Ms. Aparajita Singh, Senior Advocate of the Supreme Court of India, as the guest for our second episode. Ma'am was designated as a Senior Advocate by the Supreme Court of India last year. Over the course of her career, she has appeared in some landmark cases, some of the notable ones being assisting the Supreme Court as an amicus curiae in the Delhi air pollution matter, appearing as a special public prosecutor alongside the noted senior counsel Harish Salve in the Uphaar Cinema Case, appearing for Prakash Jha in all his free speech matters with some of his movies face ban. Furthermore, ma'am has also served on the committee that came up with a working plan on rehabilitation of destitute widows. Ma'am, we are honored to have you.
Hi, I'm happy to be here.
So, ma'am, just to set the tone for this interview, I want to ask you that, you know, whenever we search your name on the internet, the most important case that flashes up is that the air pollution case which led to the ban of BS3 vehicles. I just want to ask you on a preliminary basis, how did you get into environmental litigation?
I inherited it because both my seniors, Justice Uday Lalit, he, when he was a lawyer, he was doing it as an amicus curiae. And then I joined the chambers of Mr. Salve. He was also an amicus curiae in the matter. So I had been doing the matter for about 20 years, by the time I actually became an amicus curiae. So I just inherited it from my seniors. And because I was already very familiar with the matter. And when Mr. Salve's engagement started taking him overseas more often than in India, so I continued with the matter.
Right, ma'am. Ma'am, it's fascinating that even after the tremendous challenges that the ecosystem is facing today, environmental litigation remains an area which is not explored by many litigation lawyers as well as law students. Why is that?
It's not profitable
Right.
because when you're doing an environment matter, who's on the other side? It's the industry, it's the auto lobby, it's the power plants, it's the all the industries because they are the polluters, and that's where the money is. And who challenges these issues in court? It's usually the NGOs or some public spirited person, or when the court takes suo motu notice, as in our case. So then you're appearing as an amicus before the court, but then you appear pro bono again. So we do these matters pro bono. So that's not where the money is. So I think that could be a reason. But it's far better today than it used to be. So I wouldn't say the situation is so bad. Now you have the NGT. So there are a whole lot of lawyers who specialize in environmental law, and as people are becoming more aware as it's becoming a important subject even in the area of law, the situation is much better now. I would believe.
Uh, to interestingly note, ma'am, in ancient Rome, it was said that pro bono was the rule and taking money was the exception. In today's time, pro bono is the exception and taking money is the norm and making money is the norm. And it's commendable that some lawyers still go for these environmental matters to actually work and bring change to people's life. Taking cue from that, can you decode the air pollution case for us? What was exactly the issue and what were the most interesting parts about that case?
This litigation has Mr. Salve and Mr. Lalit, they took it on in 1997, and we're in 2020 today. So it's not just one matter. This is a matter where court has gone into all the aspects which affect the air. So, of course, vehicular pollution, because that's the most obvious aspect and that's the most difficult to fight. Obviously, that's gained more attention than the others. But in this matter, the court has dealt with a range of issues, and right from the power plants to setting standards for all the industries to jump from BS3 to BS4, then BS4 to BS6, and all that has happened because of the court's interference. And so there are a host of measures that the court has taken, but the vehicular pollution is what has got emphasized.
All right. Interestingly, the court made a remark in this case that we have been left to die through the governmental policy. I've read this article when the court made this remark. So, why was this remark made?
See, the court has made many such remarks during the course of the hearing. It's the lament of the court because, especially since 2016, there have been phases in this matter. The first phase was when Justice Anand was there in 1990. Justice Verma, Justice Anand, Justice Kirpal. So they took this matter forward. After that, there was a lull. And then things got revived from Justice Thakur's time. And then one person who really gave a different dimension to this matter was Justice Lokur. So he took it very seriously, and he would post the matter at least twice a week or thrice a week. So we were mostly parked in his courtroom. And so the court got into the matter, and they wanted to understand what are the things. They wanted a plan. What are the things that are lacking? What is it that they can do about it? I'm talking about Justice Lokur's court because I want to give you the recent example. And what can the government do about it? Which are the agencies responsible? And what should be the timeline? So in this matter, as you are already aware, there's an authority called Environment Pollution Control Authority under the Act, under the Environment. And they assist the court. So we are amicus. The EPCA assists us in assisting the court. So it's a court-appointed committee. So they actually came out with a complete plan. So it's called Comprehensive Action Plan. But this issue that the court is monitoring, it's for Delhi and NCR. The Supreme Court has not taken an all-India perspective because it's difficult to monitor every state. It's better left to the high courts. So at the Supreme Court is essentially concerned with Delhi and NCR. So there was a report which gave a complete project, a complete layout of the situation, and all the 12 areas of pollution, what had already been done, what needs to be done. And the court was trying to implement that. So every hearing would be the government coming to the court and the court asking them, where have you gone? How far have you reached? You would be surprised to know that it took us 1.5 years to get this plan notified by the government, which EPCA had drafted, which court approved. But just to notify that plan, it took 1.5 years. So that's the pace at which the government moves. So that was the lament of the court, the frustration of the court. I'm just giving you one instance because it's such a huge matter. It's difficult to give you the entire conspectus. But this is where it was coming from.
Right. And ma'am, if I am mentioning the timeline correctly, in October 2019, the Supreme Court of India banned the sale of BS4 vehicles post March 2020. The exact date being 31st March 2020. What are your views on that? From BS3 then to BS4?
Actually, we were the ones who were aggressively asking for that. This is what we argued for, and this is what we got. So first, in 2017, the reason is this. First, you have to understand that pollution, when we talk about vehicular pollution, it's got to do with the technology. So even if you take the cleanest fuel, suppose you take the BS6 fuel, in a BS3 vehicle, it's not going to stop emitting pollution because the vehicles are designed compatible to the fuel. They have to be compatible with the fuel. So in April 2017 till 31st March 2017, only BS3 could run. From 1st April 2017, we got BS4 in. So there was an all India ban on BS3 vehicles from 1st April 2017. So that's the first. And what you have to also understand, to just to take you back a little, this whole concept of clean fuel, that came from the court. It didn't came from the government. Right from Justice Anand's and Justice Kirpal's time, and it was Justice Kirpal who changed the Delhi fleet to CNG, the autos and the buses. So this always has been this stage of Bharat 1, Bharat 2 has always been driven by the court. The government has always followed the court's orders. So that's how it came in. And so the logical corollary was that instead of jumping to Euro 5, BS5, which would have wasted a lot of public money, because Europe went into Euro 6 in 2015. So we jumped to BS6, and the BS6 fuel, and I have to congratulate the central government for that. It was already available in 2018 in Delhi, and by 2019 it was available all over NCR. So we had BS6 fuel already there in NCR, and now of course in the entire country. So the oil companies, they were ahead of the manufacturers for the first time. And that's the reason we have now BS6 technology for the vehicles, which is a new technology, which is very different, which is a more expensive technology. So it took a lot of investment from the automakers, and it's that we're in a situation where they can't recover their investment at this point of time because of the virus. And the second thing is that we have got BS6 fuel thanks to the effort of the central government. And today, the fuel is clean, the technology is clean, and hopefully we'll see a lot of improvement.
Hoping for the same. Ma'am, can you tell us why environmental litigation is more important now than ever? Seeing the changes that have been happening, why is it more important now than ever?
I don't think I need to labor this point now, because everybody is experiencing it, you know. Nobody took it seriously till 5 years back. But if you stay in Delhi or Bangalore or in any of the metropolitan cities, I come from Patna. If you stay in Patna, the point is, it's so polluted, it's so difficult to breathe. So it's not just an imagination anymore. Everybody is living it. The doctors are coming out and saying it. So initially, interestingly, the government, before the court, one of the grounds that they took, because they didn't want Euro 6 from 2020 initially. So one of the grounds that they took was that these are all foreign reports. So then we had to actually labor on the point that it's not the foreign reports. Have investigated the situation in India on the ground, and those are the reports that we are relying on. And apart from that, there are reports from India itself, the IIT Delhi reports, and so many other reports. So, I mean, we were fighting at that basic level where we were trying to convince that there's a pollution, there's a problem, and it has health repercussions. We've come a long way from there. So that point is already established. I think it's futile to now argue that pollution doesn't matter and it doesn't affect us.
Surely. On a lasting remark, ma'am, could you tell us about some other case, some notable case, for example, the Uphaar Cinema case? What happened in that case, and what was your role as a special public prosecutor?
So Uphaar, you all know about the tragedy.
Right.
And Mr. Salve was the public prosecutor. I assisted him in the matter. And we appeared in the matter right from the trial court to the Supreme Court. So I grew up with that matter. I had joined the profession 96, and this matter came to us in 2001, and it ended, I think, in 2018. So this is one of the worst matters where a white-collared crime of this kind got convicted. For us, the biggest achievement of the matter was getting a white-collared criminal inside a cell, because that had never happened before. Right. This is one of the matters where the prosecution happened the matter proceeded very rapidly, but there we can't take the credit. The victims, Neelam and Shekhar Krishnamurthy, they had formed an association, and I have not seen more proactive victims than those two. So they got together, they were at the matter, they had implemented themselves as a party, and it's because of the victims and all the effort of the parents and the relatives that the matter proceeded rapidly. Because every time the Ansals would try to stall the matter in trial court, they would come to the High Court and take an order for day-to-day hearing. When the matter got stalled in the High Court, the Supreme Court Justice Agrawal sitting, B.N. Agrawal sitting in Supreme Court, he gave an order of day-to-day hearing. So this is how the courts really came out in their support. They ensured that the trial happened speedily. I mean, speedy trial, that's one of the fundamental rights issue that we talk about. So, but that we saw in action here. But even that speedy trial, it took them from 97 to 20 years to actually reach a conclusion. That's the sad state of the criminal justice system, but at least something happened in this matter.
That's inspiring to hear some landmark cases, and to have someone who has actually been involved in these litigations. It's an honor for us at TCLF. What would your advice be? This will be the last question. What would your advice be to people who will be entering the profession in the near future?
Okay, that I would really like to talk about that, because first thing I want to tell you that, and I want to inspire young lawyers, and what I want you to first understand is you don't need a legal background to do well. Of course, if you have a legal background, it makes things easier. But I didn't have a legal background. Number two, don't be afraid to go and talk to the best counsels. Before joining somebody, just don't take a reference and go there. Go to the courtrooms, watch the hearings, watch the proceedings, see whom do you like, whose style do you like, who inspires you. Go and meet that person. Go and meet him in chambers. Lawyers are very accessible. If you can't meet them in chambers, catch them in the corridor. Go and meet them there. And if you're good, if you're sincere, they recognize it in you. So for me, I passed out from Campus Law Center, Delhi University, and I took Gopal Subramaniam's number from 197, and I just dialed him. And he was kind of come on phone, and then I went and met him. He met me. He gave me a reference for another senior, Mr. Dulakia, with whom I did my 1-year internship. Then Justice Lalit, I saw him arguing in court. I went and I spoke to him, and I said, I want to join you because I saw you arguing and I thought you're good. He said, okay, join from tomorrow. The same with Mr. Salve. I went and spoke, because I did take anybody's reference. Of course, I was fortunate. I'm not saying that, it's very, but the point is, it's not as difficult as people make it out to be. And second thing, respect yourself. Whichever chamber you are in, wherever you are, don't let anybody disrespect you. Your confidence is the most important thing. You need to be treated with respect. So these two things I would advise all the juniors. Just believe in yourself, and you have to work hard. We worked very hard in every chamber. So these three things, if you have the drive, if you're willing to work hard, and just be confident about yourself, and don't let anybody disrespect you, go and talk to people, and things would happen. They won't happen in an instant. It took me 20 years to be where I am. It won't be easy. Financially, it's not been easy, because if you're on your own in litigation, it's not so easy, but you'll get there.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for gracing us with the opportunity to speak to you. And I'm sure that law students as well as young practitioners, be it from the commercial side or the constitutional side or from the criminal side, everyone has something to take away from this interview, ma'am. Thank you so much.
I was happy to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you.